I'm going to share this with Mrs. McMaster's class so they can hear it as well. But for the Spencers and for the kids in my reading group, oh my gosh, this is the one story that I had to read again for you because I love reading the story more than once. So this is called Those Darn Squirrels. So Seth, if you're watching this, you'll hear me say it, and you know what I mean. All right. Those Darn Squirrels by Adam Rubin, illustrated by Daniel, Samieri. Lots of detail here. I love how illustrators will purposely put in things that are part of the story. So there's some funky birds here. Looks like someone's an artist. On the outskirts of a town, at the edge of a forest, there was a little old house. And the only thing older than the little house was the man who lived in it, Old Man Fuquire. So here's how far out he lives. Old Man Fuquire was so old that when he sneezed, dust came out. He was also a grump. He hated pie. He's throwing it away there. He hated puppies. Get out of my house. The only thing he liked was birds, all summer long. The old man painted pictures of birds that visited his backyard. There were whirlybirds, bonga birds, baba birds, and yabba birds. Even a rare flugelbird came by once or twice. Fuquire's paintings weren't very good, but the birds never said anything. When the air turned crisp and the leaves began to change color, the old man grew sad. He knew that soon the birds would fly away south for the winter, as they did every year. Now that would be lonely. He had an idea. If he fed the birds, maybe they would stick around. So Old Man Fuquire built beautiful bird feeders and put them up all around his backyard. He filled the feeders with delicious seeds and berries, and soon the birds came from all over the forest just to eat in the old man's yard. So he's done quite a nice job here, I think. But the birds weren't the only ones who liked the bird feeders. The squirrels did too. Now, not many people know this, but squirrels are the cleverest of woodland creatures. You can see all the details I'm going to read about here. In fact, they're fuzzy little geniuses. They can make a house out of a tree, a bed out of a bunch of leaves, a box kite out of twigs, dirt, and squirrel spit, and they're also excellent at math. Winter was fast approaching, and the squirrels needed to gather as much food as they could get ready. So they decided to take some of the bird food. Oh dear, someone is not happy. Oh, the birds were not happy, neither was Old Man Fuquire. And when he discovered what had happened, he shook his old man fist and yelled, "Breakfast ready. Those darn squirrels!" So he's not happy. He filled up the bird feeders again, but this time he hung them from a clothesline. He went back inside, confident that the squirrels would no longer be able to get the seeds and the berries. But remember, they're geniuses. But the squirrels were determined. They devised a plan, and this time they took all the food from the bird feeders. The birds were furious. "Harumph, harumph, harumph," yelled a bonga bird. "Those darn squirrels!" yelled Old Man Fuquire. "Yum," said the squirrels. Their bellies are all full. Nobody's happy except for the squirrels right now. Well, This is quite elaborate, by the way. Lots of details in this picture. Now it was Old Man Fuquare's turn to devise a plan. He went to the general store to get supplies. He bought lasers and clamps and wires and springs and all sorts of tools. Built a veritable fortress around his bird feeders. And then he refilled them very carefully. Na, 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 snorted the flugel bird. There's the flugel bird. Mr. Fuquire, old man, he looks like he's pretty happy with himself. Well, the squirrels stayed up all night working out their strategy. They drank cherry cola, ate salt and pepper vinegar chips to help them stay awake, and finally, they had it. The perfect plan. You can see there's a perfect plan here. They put on their tiny helmets and prepared to launch themselves into the air over the fence between the lasers and onto the bird feeders. First squirrel misfired, hit a tree. Second squirrel went too high, landed in a bucket. Third squirrel sailed over the house entirely. The birds laughed and laughed, and they each had one last delicious mouthful of the seeds and berries from the old man's feeders. Then they flew south for the winter, just as they did every year, said the flugel bird. Oh, that's a sad face on Old Man Fuquire. Oh, and look at the squirrels. They're all looking at him. Well, after the birds left, Old Man Fuquire was lonely, just as he had been every year. He fixed himself some cottage cheese and pepper, his favorite snack. But he was still lonely. When he looked out the window, the squirrels could tell he wasn't happy. Go away, shouted the old man. I don't like you, squirrels. Well, the squirrels held a meeting deep inside a large tree. They decided to give the old man a present to make up for the seeds and the berries. So they're a little bit of a pack rats there. Not many people know this, but squirrels are not only fuzzy little geniuses, they love to collect anything they can get their hands on. These squirrels had a vast stockpile of spectacular junk to choose from. But what would Fuquire like? Bottle caps, popsicle sticks, postage stamps? Finally they had it. The perfect gift. The squirrels stacked all of their loose change on Old Man Fuquire's doorstep. There were dimes and pennies, nickels and quarters. There were a few tokens from Coco's arcade. It all added up to $47.36, plus a few rounds of skee-ball. Maybe you squirrels aren't so bad, but I still like the birds better. This gave the squirrels another idea. They raided their junk collection again and got to work. When Old Man Fuquire woke up the next morning, he was amazed to see that the birds had returned. Look carefully. Wait. Those things weren't birds, they were the squirrels in disguise. Great googly moogly, said Old Man Fuquire. This is going to make quite the great painting. He ran outside and took down the lasers and wires and springs and loaded trapeze. He turned all the bird feeders into squirrel feeders, and then he painted until his brush ran out of bristles. That's a lot of painting. The squirrels were so overjoyed they had a party in Old Man Fuquire's house. Oh, darn squirrels, he said, and he shook his old man fist and smiled. So I love this story so much. I just do. It makes me feel happy to read it again to you guys, knowing that some of you are pretty predicting what's happening in the story. I'll read some more and post some more. I love you guys, and I miss you something terrible. And that's it.